One, we are here for each other. Together, we can deal with anything. And I love that, right? So that it's this sense of community. Now, depending on how your team expresses, how your individual team members express grief, some team members may think that other team members aren't grieving because they're not crying, they're not sighing, they're not having hard days, they're not breaking down in meetings. And so it's a great reminder that everyone on the team is grieving, right? This employee is no longer here. Everyone on the team is grieving. So that's a really powerful affirmation, and that you're in it together. I love that. Okay. Number 2. Our feelings matter. It's okay to have a range of emotions. Now, this is a great one, but you have to really mean it, right? Because sometimes we have expectations about how grief is supposed to show up at work, and sometimes it shows up in anger, it shows up in short-temperedness, it shows up in eye rolling, right? It doesn't show up in the crying and the sighing that we expect. And if that's the case, you have to be okay with that. You have to walk your talk in this situation. So if you have an employee who's like rolling their eyes all the time, everything you say, you can pull them aside and go, hey, I'm wondering if this is a reaction to, Steve dying or Janet dying, whatever it is. But you have to walk your talk on this one. You can't just say it and then get mad or get upset with someone because they're showing their grief in a different way. Another way that grief often shows up, which we don't think about as leaders, is that it shows up in making mistakes. People are unfocused, and so they may come to you 3 or 4 times to get the same information, or they're making a lot of errors where they didn't make errors before. That's an expression of grief. Number 3, we are resilient and we have what it takes to face challenges. I love this. One of the things that we forget is that when we're going through a tough time, we're actually building resilience, right? Resilience isn't like falling down and poof, bumping back up and, oh, I made it, I'm back. Resilience comes from being in a place that you don't think you can get back from and getting back from that place, no matter how long it takes you. And so reminding your team that you're resilient, that you as a group are resilient individuals, and that you can be resilient together, and that you have what it takes to meet the challenge. That's so powerful. It doesn't mean that you need some outside thing or magic wand or like some, I'm going to make fun of myself because I talked about affirmations 2 weeks ago. Affirmation, right? To get through this. What it means is that every single person on your team has the ability to get through it. And that's a really powerful message to give to your team, especially when they're dealing with loss. Number 4, progress at your own pace. Each person's grief journey is unique. And this is so true. And it starts from the moment the employee dies. Some team members may have been really close to that employee. You may not have liked that employee, right? So your relationship with the employee really affects the amount of grief, and everyone's grief journey is unique. So I have seen managers expect everyone to be better at the end of 4 weeks or 6 weeks or whatever it is, and that just doesn't happen that way. You might have an employee who's still dealing with the ramifications of grief at 6 months. Now, there's things you can do to help them and to support them and to make sure they're getting the support they need and that you're getting the work out of them that you need to do, but to expect all employees to be kind of over it in a week or 2 weeks is not realistic. Everyone progresses at their own pace. Now, when you say this as well, you're also going to be helping your team feel like it's okay for them to be where they are, wherever it is. And that's a huge gift that you give to your team when you do that. Number 5, our work has value. Even as we struggle through this difficult time, what we give to the organization is valuable and meaningful. I think that you should just say this all the time, every single meeting, honestly, because it's sometimes what we forget. We forget that our work has value. We forget to look at the bigger picture, that what we do in this team right now affects how other teams in the organization operates. So that's such a powerful statement, isn't it? Our work has value. So again, like I said, I'm still not going to be like waving the affirmation flag because I'm like following affirmations. I'm not that person. But what I do believe is when you can clean out your soul, I keep using that term, but when you can do the writing to get your head straight, to feel better about an affirmation, just to get it out of the way, get that negative stuff out of the way, affirmations can be really powerful, and they can be really powerful for your team. All right, that's all I have for you today. Hey, if you have a favorite affirmation that you like to use, drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear about it. All right, y'all. Thank you for stopping by. I so appreciate it. And please remember, you matter.